Jeff Slakey, and we are having a great conversation here, forthcoming with Thurston County Commissioner Bud Blake. Good morning, Bud.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Good to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you, too.
Nice day today. Going to be real hot. We have got some good information to share with the listeners in both Mason and Thurston County, as you do a lot of cross-county collaboration on these types of things, including the BHO Triage ribbon cutting is coming up next month. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Just to kind of give it a frame of work. But first off, thank you for having me here in Mason County. It's always great to come up here to 501 News Radio and KMS. It's very much a blessing. So, just to kind of frame it, in the 60s and 70s, we kind of institutionalized mental health, and maybe in the 70s, 80s, even into the 90s, we kind of let people go into the communities throughout the country, believe it or not. And now we're at this point and juncture as to what communities are having to struggle with as far as chemical dependency and mental health. So the new role is to take what we call the RSN, the Regional Support Network of the state, and they develop these behavioral health organizations throughout the state of Washington. And of course, we're lucky to have the Thurston-Mason Behavioral Health Organization, which stood up in April 1st. And when with that came a bunch of good contracts and funding providing to clients and providers out there to help out with families and individuals, law enforcement, schools, with the mental health and some of the chemical dependency. Well, with that in mind, as you know, in Thurston County, we opened the jail last year around September 15th, give or take, and that was part A of this whole solution set. Part B was to build this triage center, and we're about to open that up here on September 1st, almost 1 year to the date.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on time, it's under budget, and it's super important that we have this as part of the tools in the toolbox, because not everybody needs to go to jail. There are some that absolutely do, but with the triage center, it allows law enforcement and others who are involved in the emergency management system, say the paramedics and medical people on the ground, whatever, bring someone to a triage center that's not committed a crime that puts them quite directly into the jail system.
Okay.
Right? So with the triage center, they can at least get the first diagnosis of where they're at as far as if it's schizophrenia or just depression, some PSTD, whatever's going on in that person's life. And then they're able to stay at the triage center, say, for we would like it to be like 3 days, something like that. It can go up to actually 14, but then it gets to some legal pieces there where they have to go into a state institution, and that's not the objective. Well, on 25 August at noon, we're going to have a ribbon cutting for our triage center, and we're super excited about that and be able to do that. And it does serve Thurston County primarily, but it's opening up to Mason County, which I'll expand on in a second, what we're trying to do in Mason County. So we're looking forward to anybody coming out there and visiting at this on 25 August. And just celebrating that little bit of an event, and that milestone in terms of making that new step after the opening up the jail. So.
Is that where it is, near the jail?
It is. So the Accountable Restitution Center, sometimes called the ARC, sometimes called the jail, it's over there off of Mottman Road in the other part of Tumwater.
Yeah, okay.
So I forget the exit number there, but it's kind of down the road from SPSCC, the community college. And so they'll have representation from elected officials, law enforcement, prosecuting attorney for Thurston County is going to be there, and the defense counsel for Thurston County is going to be there, and Commissioner Jeffries will be there to speak on behalf of Mason County.
Good.
Speaking of Mason County, in addition to what we're doing with the triage center there in Thurston County, the Behavioral Health Organization, the Thurston-Mason Behavioral Health Organization, is fully supporting this grant that we've applied for a designated site here in Mason County. I forget exactly which couple buildings that we have on the docket, but one of the buildings would become a diversion house or a small triage center itself. And so I don't know if it handle about 8 to 10 beds, but nonetheless it would play the same role as, say, the triage center back in Thurston County. I think that's a wonderful asset to have here in Mason County. It could actually, we've written the grant to where that it could be either a detox or mental health. We're not quite sure which way to go yet. That's part of the whole strategy and scheme of maneuver as far as have a triage in Thurston County and a detox here in Mason County, or have both mental health in both counties. So we kind of have to work out through those kinks in terms of getting that solution. But nonetheless, you can just see how the behavioral health organization organization since April 1st of this year has come a long ways in terms of helping the two counties out. And more importantly, it helps families and individuals and law enforcement and schools, and that's really the objective there, is to be able to help and support those entities that make up our community. So,
is the public in general aware of this changing trend of this? You mentioned at the beginning that in the 60s and 70s we locked people up, and then the late 70s, 80s, and maybe the 90s we went almost the opposite way and kind of released a lot of folks.
Right.
And people then form their opinions based on kind of those two subsections. Now we're doing kind of the middle
ground. That's
middle
right.
ground.
Right.
Are people open to this?
You know, they are very open to it, but to answer your other part of the question, they're living it and knowing it, but they do not have, that's not been kind of clear cut to them, if you want to say it that way. And there still are elements out there, individuals and or entities, I guess is the best way to say it, that still put a stigma to this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the obstacles to get over, is that it doesn't need to have a stigma. It's not always fun. It's not always exciting. But if you can imagine a person who has schizophrenia in the home and they run away from the house and they're down the road, the family's worried sick about them. They've handled all the issue for many years, but now it's taken a turn and gone a different direction.
Sure.
So this is kind of one of the reasons why we have the triage center. Yeah, you could take them to there, and it doesn't have to be law enforcement. You could take them there, enter them into it in 3 days, and maybe get the reassessment. Maybe there's something going on wrong that wasn't part of the plan at the home, and then adjust from there, and then take the person back to the house. That way you can have that almost immediate solution right there on the ground. And that's kind of a simple way of saying it.
Right.
That's the whole part of it's being there for the community and being there for the family.
And and if law enforcement has to get involved, they're not just throwing them in the jail, which causes another total problem with the population in there as well.
Right, and just to back that up, we've taken it to where at the triage in Thurston County, we have a full-time prosecuting attorney. He'll be I'll say stationed there. He won't literally reside there, but he's able to be there. We have a court commissioner and the two support staff that goes with that, the legal assistant and the paralegal that goes with that. And then we'll always have law enforcement representation, in addition to a full-time 24 staffing at this by went out for a contract, and now the telecom is going to be the company that takes care of that.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah. So it's all built in. It's nicely packaged. We're ready to cut the ribbon on August 25. Open the doors on 1st September, and see what we can do to help people out and help Thurston-Mason County out. So.
Thurston County Commissioner Bud Blake,
Yeah.
Always great to talk with you. You come bring in really good information to share with everyone.
It's exciting, yeah. And then, of course, football season's right around
I
the
am
corner.
looking. I knew you were coming in, so now I don't know if this is a biased website or what, but Bama Online says that Alabama is #1 this year and so far in football.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they do. But you're saying the schedule may not be it's a pretty easy one so far.
Well, that's what's being said, yeah. But roll tide
nonetheless. All right, Bud Blake, good to see you. Happy Friday, and we'll talk next month or so.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good to see you. 651 at I-Fiber One News Radio.